All right, so here we go. This is video number 1. Like a lot of people in my age group, I am sort of in the process of reinventing myself, which is all good. No problem with that. I've been a business owner, one-man band for a long time, since about 1989, doing graphic design work. And, like everything else, the industry changes and you try to adapt and do things that make sense for you. So I wanted to start this channel really as a test channel, as a practice channel, kind of like a warm-up band for myself, so I can get used to looking at the camera, being more comfortable with myself and comfortable talking to the audience that's out there. Maybe there will be one someday, I don't know. That would be kind of cool, because I want to start another channel that shares some of my experiences and tips that I have for people that are creative and looking for things that can supplement their income. So I want to be a little more polished when I get to that point. So in the meantime, I'll do this and see what happens. I'm sitting in my car because one of the gigs that I am doing, which I actually really enjoy, is I'm a rideshare driver. I found that it's really interesting having these little 10-minute, 5-minute, 20-minute conversations with people that are my passengers or my customers, I guess. And, a lot of times they're really interesting. A lot of times they're boring. People, especially younger people, will just hang out on their phones and do their thing, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But occasionally I will have just a really cool connection. Most of the time I don't expect it. You can sort of tell if they're open to talking, and some people are not. For example, I had a passenger the other day, and this happens kind of frequently. I'll have a young mother with a young child. Usually it can be as young as an infant or maybe a few years old, 3 or 4 or 5 years old. I have to make 2 stops until it's complete. The mother will take the child to either daycare or a nursery school or something along those lines, and then they will continue on to their job. It's just a little taste of what's going on in the world, people doing what they have to do to get by. One very specific thing that happened to me was the mother was a PCA, which is a personal care assistant. She was proud of what she did for a living. She helped elderly people. She's an aide for a service that helps elderly people essentially, live and live maybe semi-independently, so they could stay in their apartment or their home and not have to go into a nursing home. That really has a strong personal connection with me, as about 1.5 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with dementia, which is obviously really difficult, which I'm not going to get into any of the crazy details about that, maybe at some point down the road. Because of people like this passenger, we were able to get aides into our home and keep my mother at home right up until the time that she passed. But I really try to go out of my way to thank them for what they do and tell them that they're amazing. This is from my own personal experience. They're not paid enough. They need to be paid a lot more. So if anybody ever gets this message and it gets to the right person, please understand the value of these people that are just dedicated to their customers, I guess, or their clients. I'm not sure what they're called. But they helped us tremendously, and it's invaluable. I'm thinking of another ride that I had. I picked someone up in downtown, and you don't know what to expect, which I pick up people quite often downtown. Like right off the bat, without me even really saying anything, saying hello or whatnot, he just said that he just got out of prison. After serving 20 years. So I was like, whoa, where did that come from? I was fine with it. I don't have a problem with people sharing those things. Again, I find it interesting. I don't find it threatening at all, especially when someone is forthcoming like that. So, again, that was probably about a 10 or 15 minute drive, and he kind of told me how he's getting his life together, and he's living in a home. I guess it's some sort of a halfway house to transition people from prison life back into society, he was amazed how things have changed, obviously. Technology, cell phones, the internet, and all this sort of thing. Wow, another person's perspective can be kind of crazy, especially when they've been out of the loop for so long. And he also told me that he's excited about helping others in a similar situation, get back into society and be, productive members of society. So it was just a really strong connection that I had with him. And I'll say that this person that just spent 20 years in prison was the first person that I actually turned around and I shook his hand. I was really excited and hopeful that he could provide something really valuable and meaningful to people that need it. So there are a lot of stories like that occur, and I guess the goal of this video and other videos that I plan on producing are, again, to help me get comfortable in front of the camera and try to sort of share my thoughts without using a script and, making it sound authentic. But also, I really think it's important to share the little stories that people have, the 10-minute connections with people. I really enjoy, having those conversations. They tend to be real and authentic. I know that I probably won't see them again, but just getting a little snippet of their life, people going through their daily routine, just trying to make it in the crazy world that we live in and getting by, and just hearing, little details about what they do for a living or what their challenges are, or if they're going to college or studying or whatever the case may be. So my goal is to share more of those stories with you, and always keep it on the uplifting side. I know that it's very easy to complain and talk about people that are causing problems, horror stories and things like that, but that's really not my goal for these videos. It's really to share everyday connections with people. So I guess that's it for now. I'm going to drive for a little bit, and if I have any interesting passengers today, I will probably chime in once more and see where this goes.